Khan. This is a presentation for my final project, and it's related to like the use of raw data that's publicly available, and the topic's more about like the concept of utilizing data and telling a story. So I wanted to do something around like New York City taxi ridership analysis and joining some data sets like cost of gas and the type of weather, resulting in like when people could maybe have a surge in taking a taxi maybe or not. But basically the idea was to have a S3 bucket set up, get the raw data in, run a glue crawler, and have like an AWS Glue data catalog curated through the Amazon Athena, and then really utilizing an amazing tool called QuickSight Dashboard, which I learned a lot trying to utilize it, and it basically pulls the data from S3 for storytelling with the data. So I will now switch to the AWS environment to kind of walk you through what I did. Number one, first thing was getting the proper role set up. So for creating the IAM role, just to make sure that there's proper access to S3 buckets and other AWS services. And so this one is for, so I set up this one right here, the Glue ETL service role FP. And this was like basically making sure that you have full S3 full access, Glue service role, and then you have the proper trusted entities, and this setup was ensuring like I don't have any access issues later. Once this was done, I actually went ahead and downloaded all the raw data files. So it was the gas file, from an environmental agency for New York, and I downloaded the New York taxi rideshare file from the New York taxi website, and then I also downloaded the weather information for New York, and those were all like in CSV raw files. And one thing I did was basically, of course, like created the S3 buckets. So you'll see here that it's called the final project Harvard Khan. In here you have objects that I created, curated, raw, scripts, temp. So for example, in the raw, I essentially have different folders, and for example with weather I had the CSV file, and then if I go to taxi, it's got the taxi data, and then basically once this was done, I configured the S3 buckets, just making sure like the actual S3 bucket also had the proper security and the permissions. So all this was ensuring like I don't have any issues later, but you'll see like a lot of the analysis that I had to do through the S3 was first getting into the proper crawlers set up. So you'll see here that the crawlers were set up. Number one, I created the database, NYC Taxi DB, and then within the taxi DB, of course, once that was really set up, I actually went ahead and did the crawlers, and for the crawlers itself, scanning my data sources and automatically creating the table definitions and in the AWS Glue data catalog. And you'll see that I created these crawlers for gas prices, New York City taxi, weather, and for each of these, you'll notice that these did run, and I have the IAM role, right, which was making sure like I have the right level of access for later. So I'll just kind of click through some of these, make sure, and then it ran fine. And then you'll see here like data source, going back to my folders within the S3 bucket. So once this was all kind of done, the actual target, like I said, was this one right here, the NYC taxi database. And then in here you'll see like basically each of the tables. And then once this was done, we went into Athena, right? And within Athena, AWS Data Catalog, and then you also have the actual database, NYC taxi table. And then you'll see here all the fields that were brought in, date, the gallon information per date, how much it cost. Taxi data, like lots of columns, made sure like it was the right like value here. I also did the same thing for the weather. Make sure like all the specific details are in here. And then I basically used Athena to perform some transformation, joins, things of that nature. And once this was all kind of completed, I basically like had the curated data in my S3 buckets, and the fun part was really starting with like the Amazon Quick Suite, and in here like my first time using a lot of this stuff, and I realized like initially I wanted to do open search, then I did get permission to do Quick Suite, so it was nice to do this because I felt like it gave me a little bit more options. So within the data set, for example, one of the things I had to do was actually create a data source. So you'll see here that like NYC table, and then database, and then see the gas prices, taxi data, weather, CSV, right? These are all coming in from my S3, but in order for me to do that, I actually had to first go to my access and go to AWS resources, make sure that I have the right access, right? And Athena here, and then S3, but then also ensuring I have the final project Harvard Khan, accessible. So once this was done, because it was something I didn't realize, and I was struggling a lot trying to figure out why the data wasn't syncing. Anyways, once that happened, sky was the limit for me in terms of utilizing this data. So the data sets were ingested, and what I did was I also added some level of scheduling here, and in the schedule I just do daily, and you'll see that this one, for example, I just ran it December 10th, and it ran successfully, ingested all the rows. Now if there's an update to the file, I'm expecting it like, hey, just run it every day, and I would get the fresh data. And then this data then became like my input for like basically all the analysis. So I did kind of utilize some of the features, like there was this nice research feature about analysis. I also utilized some of the dashboard capabilities, as well as like scenarios, flows for like, just to kind of see what kind of information I can utilize further. And then the main thing really was I then used that data to come up with like some sort of a story, because in the end I wanted to make this as a presentation about like what do I get with all this data analysis, and one of the things I felt like was important was creating a story in this feature, and then within the story like kind of giving an idea of like, okay, what were some of the key findings, insights, like New York City taxi ridership depending on rain versus snow impact, and giving some idea on the type of weather conditions, the ridership impact, and all that. So this data analysis really helped me like come up with a story to tell, and that was the beauty of this project. I feel like it forced me to learn about how data analysis could be powerful, and by number one, like knowing how to set up all these things, but at the end, what's the big use? The use is to use data and tell a story, and I think this was what my project was, and I hope you like it. Thank you.